Hello out there in the YouTuberverse, Max here. Pauper time is upon us. Loving it. Loving Pauper right now. If you didn't catch any of our live streams, we've been streaming the heck out of Pauper while it was around during the Friday, the 31st of August, to Tuesday, which would be the 4th of September. So, a present indeed, and of course we recorded a bunch of it for you all so that we can share it with you when the event is down, and hopefully they'll bring it back, because it seemed to be fairly popular. So we'll see if that holds true while we jump in. We're going to play Pauper Death, which I should go to Edit Decks and show you all, first and foremost, the list I have. So the deck is slow, grindy, more of a control deck. I came up with the idea, and if you watch the Pauper Primer 2 on YouTube, you'll know about this deck a little bit more, and I made some changes since I've been playing. This deck is my version of what a control deck would look like in Pauper. It is built around cards like Skittering Heartstopper, Aether Poisoner, Ruin Rat, Dagger Tongue Basilisk, and what you'll notice about all those cards is they have the mechanic known as Deathtouch. So what I've done is I've used that in tandem with cards like Rabid Bite and Ambuscade to be able to have unconditional removal in the format for creatures. I guess so long as they don't have hexproof, which is, that's pinpoint removal for you. But that gives me the ability to deal with a lot of robust and diverse threats which the field has presented. Some other cards in here that are worth noting: Adventurous Impulse and Painful Lesson to help put us, as well as Tishana's Wayfinder, to help put us cards ahead. Some of the big threats: Sandworm and Rampaging Hippo cycle. There's also, I think that's pretty much it for card acceleration. Our other win condition is Colossal Dreadmaw. We also have Fungal Infection, which has really impressed me in the format thus far. And outside of that, I think that's basically every card in here outside of our lands, which I am playing Deserts. One of the few decks I put Deserts in because it is a slow deck, and I want to use every chance I get to gain advantage on the board and keep cards flowing. So that is kind of what I have built. So we're going to go ahead and run that through a Pauper Gauntlet and hopefully do okay. Choose your deck. Choose the death deck I was just talking about. And we'll go ahead and play. This deck has performed pretty admirably. It was a 5-0 and a 4-2, and when I played it the very first time on my own in testing, I believe it was a 4-2 as well. So the deck has definitely got the right stuff in the format. And I feel like of all the decks that I've brewed that aren't just like rats or tokens, this deck definitely has some of the most legs. It has bodies to block things. It has removal for significant threats. It's got pretty good card advantage in it. We can see here this hand, for example, Fungal Infection, Adventurous Impulse, Rabid Bite, and Ambuscade. I think it's a fine keep. The Adventurous Impulse hopefully can undo a little bit of our problems. And it's part of the reason it's in the deck is because it's just a very powerful option. Looks like we're going to go up against red, so I'll probably lead on black plus Fungal here to take care of some early beatdowns. So we'll see how that goes, but we'll start off with a Swamp. Give the opponent the hello, to which Michael 6800 will not return in kind. Okay. We'll block that. Get that off the board here. And we have yet another blocker for the Pyromancer. So, as you can see, it's doing pretty good work at keeping the board clear. I'm even considering here just using this Rabid Bite on this Pyromancer so we don't have to take early damage. Because one thing you don't want to do against the red deck is take damage when you don't have to. Now, I know there is a 3-1 haste for 3 in the format. I forget its name. But I'm willing to take a hit off that if they have it. This may get shocked, but I'm okay with them using a shock on the Daggerback, and it did not. So I don't know if and I've been hitting this problem a lot in Pauper, is I'm just not sure what opponents are trying to do, like what their hand is capable of, based on what's the texture of their hand looks like. So I take it it's going to be this into dual shot, maybe? Okay, into a blazing volley. Okay, that is totally fine. We get to take a turn of a blank board to kind of reload a little bit. Okay, we'll take a Foul Orchard. Oh, target a player. I always want to tap the mana first before I target me. Okay, and a decent little reload there. If we draw an untapped land, we can commit 2 creatures to the board. If we don't draw an untapped land, we can commit 1. So we're in okay shape. Okay, and they just have a Havoc Devil, which is kind of nice. I'm going to go ahead and play the Wayfinder here. I don't want to pay for it is the question. 2 green and a black. So then if I get an untapped source into my hand, we'll definitely keep that on top, because the more threats, the better. And now I have something that can trade with the Havoc Devils. It can't get shocked out. I think Tishana's Wayfinder is pretty good. I think the Explore mechanic overall has been underutilized in this format. Oh, cool. That's the first Spark Tongue Dragon I've seen. I think I'm just going to play an Aether Poisoner. And while they're tapped out, I'm going to go ahead and Ambuscade. No attacks. We'll hold back a little bit, though. Maybe I should have probably attacked there with the Wayfinder. If they wanted to come back at me with the Havoc Devils, I think that's kind of fine. Even if they managed to get the Poisoner out of there. I'm just playing a little bit too conservatively around removal, which I have not seen. So, there you go. And now they still can't attack with the Devils. So, I mean, they can, of course, but I can block with my Deathtouch creature. This time I will attack, because I get a Servo. So I can Servo plus Daggerback plus Dusk Legion, and you can kind of see, and we have an Adventurous Impulse still in hand, you can kind of see that this deck is capable of actually drawing quite a few cards. Okay, Vyashina Pirate. I think we have the opponent, I think we have them pretty good here. I don't think there's much they can really do to beat us. We're at a pretty substantial life total, and yeah, you can see there they scooped. They're gonna have to. They need runners for the rest of the game, and that's not even a guarantee based on our hand texture. But easily outdid our opponent there, and I mean, I think that is very much a sign of how good this deck is. It's just, I mean, against the enchantment deck, the Bogles deck of the format, which is also a solid choice and something I've played a few times now. They can't really attack past the Deathtouch creatures, so it works pretty well. The only thing you're really lacking is flying in that matchup if they manage to get something in the air, but if they get something in the air, it's able to be removed, so you're kind of covered on all fronts, and again, we see a very keepable hand. If they're on the aggro, we have the Fungal if we need it. If not, we can Dusk Legion, we can Ruin Rat, we can kind of put a lot of things in front of our opponent, which is quite nice. Got a hello out there to Slater. Slater 333. Hope it's Christian. Got the hello back against another aggro deck. Fanatical Firebrand. We will wait till it's tapped, obviously, to fungal it, but I will absolutely fungal it, because again, I do think the premier priority, I guess, the priority of the not the premier, I guess the premier option and the thing we want to get to doing as quickly as possible is keep our life total as high as possible, because all of our card advantage, our Dusk Legion Zealots and our Painful Lessons all operate off of being able to have mana. So that's kind of what we're trying to hope to do here. If we can keep ourselves, or keep life rather, not mana. We need mana and life. All our card draw takes life. So if we can keep our life high, we're in good shape. And so I really don't mind taking a turn. We can ambuscade if we need to. I think I'm going to take the turn to do that. And I don't mind getting sent back for damage here. Again, we do need to keep our life total high, but we do need to get the opponent dead. There's exactly the 3/1 with haste that kind of punishes a Firebrand. I doubt would come. I mean, maybe? I doubt it'd come in after they saw the ability we have to take things off the table. Oh, interesting. Okay, it's a red-white deck. Okay. Tokens is one of the tougher matchups that this deck can face because it just doesn't have a lot of diverse options and not a lot of big butts. As you can see, our board is literally glutted with 1/1s at the moment. So that's a big deal, but we can cycle Greater Sandworm if we want. I see no reason to combat here. We're not under extreme pressure or anything. We have more than enough blocks to take things out. The Saproling would be happy to take out another card that just lets us get more value out of our Fungal Infection. I mean, that's all well and good. We'll see if the Firebrand wants to ding something. Okay, opponent definitely flooding the board here. Did not anticipate this after the start, which was a more standard mono red start, to turn into a go wide token strategy. But that's cool. Yep, no surprise the Ruin Rat bites it there. But our Rabid Bites are just as good. On 1/1s in this as they are in Deathtouch. So I'm not too concerned here. I'm sure the Sacred Cat will come in. Wow. I don't mind the lifelink. Okay. Now we're in a little bit of trouble. We're not under extreme pressure yet, but only at 5 land we still have to get a green source to make the Sandworm work, so it makes me want to go ahead and cycle it to try to find something a little bit more mid-rangey to get into the fight. Like, taking 3 here is not a big deal. It's still quite a clock our opponent has, but could be an Inspired Charge here, and that significantly increases the clock. See what their follow-up is. Oof, that's a good follow-up. I think they may have us here. We definitely have to cycle now, because 1 Sandworm isn't even really good enough to deal with this board. We need runner into runner, which we did not get. Poisoner. Rabid Bite away a 2/2 token. Get that out of the way. We can trade with a 2/2 if it comes in and take 3 once again to 10. Just gotta hope our opponents run out of gas here. They've only drawn 4 of their land, so I'm hoping that, you know, we have a little bit of a reprieve. We'll see if this 1/1 holds off the army. It does not. We will definitely block the 2/2 and get max value. That is not a problem. Charge is fine. Okay. They've played their cards. Okay, Hippo will play. I'll play the land. I don't really need to play the land, I don't think, but if I go, like, Painful Lesson into another card or something, I want that. Pyromancer definitely going to put in the pressure. They put me down to 3, then they get to put me down to 2. Can't block the Sacred Cat, unfortunately, at any point. Okay, Rabid Bite will play. Okay. I mean, we're in big trouble, obviously. I mean, Inspired Charge still wins the opponent the game here. Just gotta hope they draw their lands that they haven't been drawing. I will not attack here. I will attack next turn with Aether Poisoner, but I need to be very conservative at 2 life. I don't mind making a servo. The Deathtouch here is largely irrelevant. I'd be surprised if the opponent wasted a Sacred Cat here. Okay. Alright. Now we have enough creatures with the rat and the servo that if they embalm Sacred Cat plus significant follow up, I will not attack. But if they just go embalm Sacred Cat, I will attack. I doubt there'll be a block here. That just doesn't make sense to save 2 points of damage. This land I'll sandbag. Meaning I'll keep it in my hand and not play it intentionally. Okay, we'll end the turn there. I mean, at any point our opponent draws a shock, we're dead. We have to fade. We haven't seen a shock yet. So they may be a more dedicated token deck, but we've seen 2 Firebrands that can shoot us in the face. We've seen 2 Pyromancers that can shoot us in the face because one got exiled. So, what in the world? I don't think there's anything that grants trample. But if they have a charge, they got me. And no catcher's name. Okay. We still get them because Ruin Rat has Deathtouch. They get both of our creatures this way, but that's fine. Come on, keep up with my clicking. Alright. Commit that Basilisk. Get in with the Hippo. Again, we're trying to fade a shock here. Trying to fade a Viashino Pyromancer. Again, I'm not going to overstretch. Just going to try to play as conservatively as I can while keeping a reasonable clock on. So opponent's going to fade 2 damage here. Okay. Luckily, Aether Poisoner getting a couple times and make servos, so that means we can start attacking with Aether Poisoner and Hippo, and even Daggerback potentially, depending again if they have a follow-up plus Sacred Cat, or if it's just Sacred Cat. Alright, looks like it's just going to be Sacred Cat, so we will go ahead and serve in with all 3 creatures. See if they want to trade off for the Aether Poisoner to get that off the table. But I am interested in being able to present lethal over 2 turns. This turn and the next turn. I don't have to quite stretch as far because of the Painful Lesson. But opponent did opt to go to what will be lethal damage no matter what because of the Painful Lesson. Okay, got there. Whew, that was a sweat. We had one very close one like that during our live stream. It was the very last game of our live stream, so check out that VOD when it goes up. The very last game of our live stream, we had the opponent attack with Dreadmaw, put them to 2, Painful Lesson with Painful Lesson on the stack. They shocked us, which they had been sandbagging for multiple turns. They let us run through 3 full turns of going through the motions to shock us at the last second. Just to epic slow roll. That's just, I mean, you know, I don't understand that. If you want to see who that person is, so in case you see them on Arena, you can, you know, act in kind to them if you play them. It's in that video. I honestly don't remember right now, because I've tried to get that negativity out of my life. But as you can see, it still is, I mean, I just don't understand it. It's a game of trying to maximize your time, so to me, it doesn't seem like there's much of a reason to do that. Alright, this hand's a little glutted on 3s, and there's not a whole lot of action. We've played against 2 aggro opponents here. I'd rather try to mulligan and take my chances. But, you know, get bit in the ass pretty hard by it. Man, that's bad. Okay, that helps. We'll still give the hellos, because we're still polite people around here. Triple Fungal Infection. Hope they're on an aggro plan. I will not cycle the land, obvious. I'm just going to fungal this. It's a half card for a half card, but I have their back end covered by it too. So it's just trading 1 mana spells. I don't want to take damage. I don't want them to gain life. I have infinite fungal infections as backup, so I have no problem kind of trying to keep the board clean if I can. I have another fungal to back that up. If they're playing White Weenie or tokens, we have a lot of ground creatures in the Saproling tokens that we can get more value out of. They went for immediate cartouche. Okay. Unfortunately, we did not draw an untapped land, but an ambuscade will help. Do I just want to get the token? Let's take 2 here. I have the ambuscade for that as a clean answer. That may end up going to that instead. Okay. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and ambuscade. While they're tapped out. No pumpies. I'll block a Sacred Cat, a naked Sacred Cat, if they choose to attack with it. Obviously won't double block the first strike or anything. Don't mind trading. I mean, we're trading off half cards, so I am no problem with that whatsoever. Call the Cavalry. A little bit of a problem with that. I'm going to try to take a slightly greedier line here. Alright, didn't quite grab what I wanted to grab, but it was a land nonetheless. But we will have to do something on our mold of 5 to get back into this game. I'm certainly not ready to call it quits yet. My opponent is, again, I mean, we're trading cards, trading parts of cards, basically. So we'll see how things go. But certainly not ready to call it yet. Okay. We have a Rabid Bite now. We can take care of the flyer or the cartoushed cat. I mean, opponent trying very hard and successfully overrunning us pretty good. So unfortunately, we have to, fortunately or unfortunately, I guess, get rid of the evasive threat. I don't think it'll slow the opponent down at all in terms of coming in. Well, I think they just have it now. Yeah, unfortunately, Moldify versus opponent who curved out pretty nicely isn't really going to get us there. But, every deck mulls. It happens. I could have arguably kept the 7 and maybe been in better shape. No, I would have been in actually pretty bad shape. Cat into cat into, Painful Lesson is potentially our first play. Now, granted, you never know what's coming off the top of the deck, but same thing with 5 cards. You never know what's coming off the top of the deck. So, we'll just hope that we don't run too poorly from here. This looks like a very acceptable hand. Dusk Legion Zealot to maybe get us a little bit more action. Also blocks, trades with I mean, Dusk Legion Zealot generally will trade with a card. Minimally a half a card. Plus draw you an entire card. It's very, very good in this format. I don't see enough people playing it, in my opinion. I think it's very good. I don't think people have found the black mid-range deck yet. I think I'm the closest at this point. Alright, if we're playing against a ramp deck, I like our odds. The Go Tall deck is we're much better suited to deal with because our one removal spell is just so much better against the Go Tall than it is against the Go Wide. So it looks like our opponent is trying to build a bigger mousetrap. So we're going to do quite nicely here. And they're offering a trade of a Zealot with no land, where they played their second land. We're going into our third turn here. So I'm going to Painful Lesson myself. But I have no problem trading a Dusk Legion Zealot, which got me an entire card plus a Llanowar Elf. Like, they traded off an entire card into that. So clearly they want their Seed Sculptor to be unblocked. And I'm fine with them pantsing it up, because we're going to present a Daggerback Basilisk they have to respect. So as long as they don't have a piece of mono green removal or present their second color plus removal, Daggerback will trade for the Seed Sculptor. Okay, nice. Obviously going to go ahead and Rabid Bite here. I'm going to pay double green for that because I'd like to Heartstopper plus mana to Heartstopper. Yeah. See, we just dealt with, I mean, like, our value is so high right now against this opponent. I even get to swing in the Basilisk here because I still have the Heartstopper back, which can fully trade with the Elf even without getting Deathtouch. It's pretty insane. They made Titanic Growth or something. I don't know how much they Yep, see? Daggerback just got 2 more cards. Insane, dudes and dudettes. Insane. Like, you can't give players this. In Pauper especially, you cannot give, and this is a big lesson, not just for deck building or brewing, you can't allow an opponent to do something like that. You just cannot. You can't allow an opponent to generate that kind of advantage. I tapped 2 green there because I have a forest I can still play for turn. Don't really need to make a land drop, so there's no need to cycle here. I have the Ambuscade up if I need it, plus an activation on the Heartstopper. I mean, we kind of have it all, which is ridiculous to say against a single... we have a 1/2 creature out. But we kind of have it all, which is so sad to say. But you can't allow your opponent to generate... Like, the amount of cards we were able to trade up against our opponent was absurd. Like, we just should not be able to do that kind of stuff. No rush on this Ambuscade, and I can use the Sorcery Speed Rabid Bite right now because they're tapped out. So I'm just going to go ahead and cycle another Desert. Okay, Greater Sandworm, great draw. Oh, I'm going to Rabid Bite, use the cheaper one. Oh, crap. I forgot to, in the midst of me talking, I forgot to give it Deathtouch. So I wasted a card here talking about not wanting to go down cards against an opponent. That was my fault. But I still think that's okay. We're kind of getting more even in cards now, which, again, favors the opponent who has bigger cards, but... We'll try to eke out a win. That was really stupid. Get in there, Heartstopper. That was so dumb. Oh well. You live, you learn, you get loves. Oops. I don't even know if we have to go that far. I'm just going to probably start with a combat step. Again, I don't want to have to waste a card when I have a Greater Sandworm here. Okay, opponent smartly identifying that they have the advantage here. I'm willing to end the turn here. If things go, like, south, like, I'll present a block with the Skittering Heartstopper. If things go insane and they, like, pump that Dreadmaul or something crazy, I'll then Ambuscade. I'm just trying to kind of figure out what line I want to take here. I'll also get the Heartstopper in. I don't mind that. Resolves. Now if they're smart, they'll block with this. Okay, could have blocked. I mean, I don't know what they would have gotten, but whew, got lucky there despite that pretty epic screw-up. Got to activate the Heartstopper to give it Deathtouch. Important point of reference there. But as you can see, against the tall wide decks, or go tall decks, the tall wide. That's not me, I'm short wide. Against the go tall decks, we have so much bigger of an advantage than the go wide decks because our 1/1s just trade across for a 1/1 that costs probably equal or lesser mana, where in the go tall decks, we can trade multiple higher mana costs and multiple cards in a lot of cases for a card that costs 2 mana. So it gives us a pretty distinct advantage. Okay, this is a great hand. Lets us do pretty much everything the deck wants to do. It's got good card advantage in it. Looks like we're against a control deck, so I don't mind. I could be wrong, but Desert of the Mindful generally isn't played in the more aggressive blue builds. Nice. Got a hello back. Thank you very much, opponent. Yeah, this looks like it could be a blue-black control deck. And I definitely don't mind playing against that. Hovering over the desert. It's the same thing you have. We'll run out of Zealot. I don't mind if they counter it. Again, Dust Leaves and Zealot will always get you a card. That's his guarantee. You put him in the deck, he always gets you a card. Generally, he'll get you more than one, because he's already get you one when he ATBs. That Desert I will try to hold and cycle a little later for card advantage, because this is going to come down to who can get the maximum value out of their cards and who can cast the most spells. That's definitely what this match is all about, if it's what I think it is. Okay, nothing in a turn. Thinking of maybe like an Opt or something. But if this is the deck I think it is, which is a blue-black control deck, this is very much going to be about getting every minor edge that we can in the match. I mean, I'd be happy with a Moment's Craving. Select for Inspection would be primo, because then I could just recast it. I definitely prefer that opponent makes a decision a little faster. Unless they de-seed, of course, which is unfortunate, but possible. So yeah, I definitely am definitely digging this deck. I think it's quite good. I think it's quite diverse. It attacks the format in an intriguing way. I think it's a good answer to control. Oops. I don't know what oops is, but okay. I don't think you did anything wrong. I'm going to run the Rat out because, I don't care if they Essence Scatter or Ruin Rat. Chances are, if they're controlled, they don't care about a Ruin Rat, so Ruin Rat just hits the table, and I'm going to be able to bump into him a couple times for some damage, as opposed to Tishana's Wayfinder, which I tap out. Just, oh, okay. That's totally fine. Yeah, I have no problem with them wasting an entire card on that. Even trade across in terms of mana. So, again, because with Tishana's Wayfinder's Explorer on the stack, they could have Moment's Craving there, and that would have been a little worse for wear. And I, again, don't want to run her into an Essence Scatter when she can get me a card. I'd rather just kind of wait. Like, I have this Fungal Infection at instant speed. I have the Cycle of the Desert next turn. If I want to go that route. If they don't commit anything to the table here, like, I'm fine with that. And again, Dusky Z can just keep popping in. Put him back to even. You know, we're getting there. Slowly but surely. We will get there. And this will be a match where I will not want to cycle my big creatures. They could get hit by a Divest or something along those lines if the opponent's trying to go very low end, very mana efficient. And that's fine. But I'd rather, again, you know, have them trade a card out for it. And if I have the mana open and they Divest, I can always cycle the thing away if I need to. It's not a big deal. Like, I just don't want to waste my spells, basically. Like, it's the one thing I really don't want to do here is... The way I will lose this match is I allow the opponent to get more value out of their cards than I do out of mine. So, like, for that reason, I will wait and I'll cycle this desert. I'll be able to fungal an effect if they commit something to the board. Things along those lines are what's going to keep me afloat. More so than just, like, cast a spell, make them have it, which is the right line a lot of the time. But in this case, in my opinion, based on the closing speed of our deck and what this matchup is all about, I think that, taking our time is way more paramount. Especially because opponents just leaving mana up, constantly leaving mana up. Which truly leads me to believe that they're definitely not paying the most attention either, because they're really eating up a lot of clocks here. It's just a cycle. Okay, Greater Sandworm will play eventually. Again, we'll keep attacking here. It leads me to believe they're on something like a Striped Riverwinder as their closer of choice. Let's see what they have. They didn't have a 4-drop draw 2 last time, so let's see if they have an Illumination this time. Cycle of Wander and Death. Okay. Okay, that was it. I mean, we're keeping even with opponent and resources. We have something on the board they do not. We're to the point now where if they tap out, we get to tap out in kind. So that's a good spot for us. We're just kind of putting the onus on our opponent to play a spell. Daggerback is a nice test spell coming into our 6th turn. Of course, we'll lead with an attack with the Dust Legion Zealot. See if opponent wants to waste any mana on it. And they did miss a land drop of note. Or did they? No, because we went first. They went first or we went first? I can't remember. Okay. I'll try to test spell them first with the Wayfinder. Maybe that's wrong. No, Daggerback really just doesn't... I can't see the implication, but they did very quickly remove our Bruin Rat. So it leads me to believe that they have a Ground Pounder of some variety. Now this could just be another moment of craving that they have in their hand, and better to use that in a counterspell. And that's totally fine. And eventually we'll have to do something. So once they do, we can... Okay, there's a thing. This may be what the opponent's up to. I'd rather just spend a mana evenly across there and negate the opponent the ability to make a creature. Because even a little 1/1 will give them some sort of advantage. Okay, opponent's elected to tap out, so now we will tap out in kind. And we'll be able to Sandworm. So they will need a threat post haste to deal with Sandworm. Oh, goodness gracious. Opponent definitely taking a little bit more time than I like. I understand it's a control deck and you really got to think your plays through. But not in love with the amount of time they're taking for this kind of stuff. Okay. Now, I mean, we could get Blink of an Eye. But again, now opponents just kind of spinning their wheels. They're tapping out during our turn. I have no problem with attack with Greater Sandworm, they blink of an eye, I recast Greater Sandworm, I have no problem there. See, here's the blink of an eye on their own turn. So they draw a card. They're spending their turn to draw a card. If they don't make this land drop, that feels pretty bad. And that's certainly why they played it at sorcery speed. But if they don't hit a blue source here to be able to Essence Scatter, they're in trouble. Oh, yeah, they're in trouble. Certainly no blocks. And the best part of this is we drew a forest, and we can Adventurous Impulse here. Take a creature over a land for sure. So we got to cast 2 spells that turn, which kind of undoes the point of the tempo advantage that the blink creates. What we're trying to fade is something like a Water Knot, because we don't have any main board ways to deal with a Water Knot, and that would take us out of the tournament as far as Greater Sandworm attacks go. My guess would be that opponent is going to Horror of the Broken Lands plus leave up a mana to cycle the Wanderer in Death. Or no, the Horror's in the graveyard still, right? Yeah, +2/+1. Still need to be able to cycle multiple cards just to trade with the Horror of the Broken Lands. They used a blue mana to cycle that. That's interesting. And I know that seems like really nitpicky to bring up, but in Pauper, these micro decisions matter so much. It's like limited more than it is like constructed. Like, I guess they drew into that off the cycle, but they still can't. They can't double block because the Salvager of Secrets can't double block. We're able to drop Rampaging Hippo this turn, plus Dusk Legion Zealot. I mean, you better believe I'm cracking in with the Sandworm. We get to this plus Tishana's Wayfinder. We really get to pay kind of, and this is what I mean, any creature will play. This is what I mean by getting to punish the opponent by the way they're tapping their mana, when they're tapping their mana, the plays they're making. This is how we win the game. We take advantage of the opponent stumbling. And they stumbled first. We had a pretty strong hand that was able to take over. So as long as we can fade like double Water Knot, we're still in really good shape to win this game. Like, what we just have to be careful. I mean, opponents, like, you can see opponents cycling during their main phase now to try to get things and try to find answers. I mean, it's just, why is this sticking around over here? See that? It's just kind of hanging out. Yeah, I was like, I don't understand the Salvager attack. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. They conceded. All right. Well, there we go. I was gonna start casting Dusk Legion, trying to find some kind of way to ambuscade or rabid bite our way into it. So there we go. All right. So managed to get by quite a different deck than what we've seen. A blue-black control deck. Pretty cool. I think Moment's Craving is awesome. I really like that card. It's the only card I think that's really, really cool I haven't gotten to play with yet. Like, I haven't had a chance to really to put that into a build at this point. Beef Harbor? Oh my god. Dude's a beef harbor. That's just unpleasant to think about. A lot of floating beef. Like beef floating around in the oceans. Kind of gross, actually. I don't like the name anymore. Let's see what they do with their 7. Some of my favorite hands to get on the draw are like Forest plus Adventurous Impulse hands. Because that just feels like you're not behind even though you're going second, which I think is pretty bad in Pauper a lot of the time. Our deck doesn't mind it nearly as much as other decks, and I think that's another advantage this mid-rangey black-green control deck gets, is it's able to take both sides of the coin. It's able to kind of posture itself across all different kinds of matchups. The weakest matchup for us by far is tokens. I wish we had the ability to sideboard in this format. I would love to do so. I think it would make the format a lot stronger, and I think the games would be a lot different, because sometimes you just stumble. This format doesn't have those big rares to get you back in the game. A prime example is the blue-black control deck we just played against. They don't have a Scarab God to get back into the game with, right? They don't have this huge punch to get back into the game. They just don't have those kind of things. Yeah, buddy. Get Adventurous Impulse into Dusk Legion if they're playing slowly. If we need to get threats on the table right away, we can start playing Aether Poisoners. Like, boy, oh boy, this hand just does it all. Love it. It looks like they were able to keep 6, which is good. We've already mulled the 5 once in this particular game, or this particular series of games. It's weird not saying matches when it's concerned to Magic, but this series of game 1s. But yeah, I just feel like the full matches would just make this format even more robust. So many good sideboard cards are available in this format. Divest, Duress, Blazing Volleys become more prevalent. Radiating Lightnings become playable out of the main board, or out of the sideboard. There's just so many more options in this format. Once you include sideboards, it just feels great, in my opinion. Foul Orchard's a fine pickup. If we need to get to work immediately, I will play Untapped Land. If they don't present a threat, okay, we need to get to work immediately. We are clocking in right away. We need all the 2-drops we can get, and luckily our hand has 3 more backup 2-drops. So, hopefully Beef Harbor has watched our video and some of our live content. They'll know how good Cartouche of Ambition is here on 3. We'll see if they have it. We'll see if they have the stamina on 1 plus Rat. Those odd cost spells, if they have another land, of course, those odd cost spells are very important. So we'll see what they can muster here. I would certainly consider ambuscading to use my mana efficiently here, but I think I'm going to put the Foul Orchard in, and I'm just going to play another Zealot. Zealot is just so good against these rats. It trades with a full rat. It gives me more cards so I can keep going longer than them. I think it really does a lot. We have a closer here for the late game that the rats really have trouble with. Once we start getting rats off the board, we can just start colossaling. Feels really good. Right now they're still on 1 rat a turn, so they really can't afford to throw in 2 rats here. They probably have a supernatural stamina, but they won't have 2, so I'm fine with them keeping 1 rat alive. But, yep, see? Alright, maybe they watched our video. But those odd cost spells are very important, so now they're up 2 creatures, but we can match them in kind with Aether Poisoners. So that's important as well. Okay, another rat colony. And another rat colony. So we've identified what we need to do here. I'm just going to block 1. We'll attack with 1. Take the action to make a servo. Allow them to go to blocks. In no world do they block this. That would be foolish. I can't believe they're considering it this long, or they just haven't noticed that they need to block. They've just dismissed it, like, not blocking. and don't realize that Arena does not take voice commands. Ambuscade. Target a creature I control. Target a creature I do not control. Okay. All right. Yep. The most likely of draws. Let's cycle this desert because I really don't need more land. Another Ambuscade was a fine draw. Another Cycling Desert was not. We need to make another servo here. I will allow them to block, of course. And I will follow the same exact turn pattern that I did last time, where I'll ambuscade and I will cycle desert. This time with servo up, even if they draw rat, I don't know if they can attack here because their numbers start to get a little dicey, and now they're fully on top of being able to live out of the deck. So if they do block, obviously that would be the best thing. And the reason I'm doing the ambuscade pre-damage, obviously, is because I get an additional point of damage in. So now it's just, I mean, I don't think they'll swing the rat into half a card unless they have a supernatural stamina. My Cartouche of Ambition, if they watched my videos or watched, well, it has to be our live stream, actually, because Pauper Primer 1 I didn't have Cartouche in. But I put 2 Cartouche of Ambition into the rat deck because the -1 is... Because these are the worst creatures, right? These half-card creatures are just the worst thing for the rat deck. So the Cartouche is able to knock them out of the way, give you lifelink if you're behind. They become a very big deal. So it's really some of your best options. Fantastic, okay. I'm not sure what they have that they didn't play. I don't have anything in the rat deck I don't play unless they're sandbagging a land. Definitely willing to swing a servo in. I won't go nuts in case they have a removal spell. But now this Dreadmaw will put a closing speed on the game. Okay, no second rat means I can combat with multiple things here. Then I can Impulse plus Basilisk. And I think we have this one close to 1. I don't think they can afford to block here. They're only soaking up 1 trample damage or trading off with a servo. Again, trading a half a card. So we've managed to navigate the rat deck, I think, successfully. I don't want to speak out of turn, of course. Okay. Not really sure what's in their hand. My thought is they're sandbagging land, which I'm not in love with. In my build, I do play Painful Lesson, so I don't sandbag lands because I can use the Painful Lesson to shoot me into multiple rats, and that becomes pertinent across all turns. Like, it becomes pertinent across all draws, so I just don't even sandbag lands in the rat deck while I'm playing it. And again, I know these micro decisions seem really ridiculous, like, it's like, man, he's really going on about these stupid little things, but Pauper, it demands the maximum value out of every single card in your deck. You really have to be cautious and you have to be thoughtful about how you're using each and every card. Are you getting the absolute maximum out of your card the way you're playing it? Can you get more value out of your card than the way you played it? I mean, it really... The reason I like Pauper so much is because I feel like it makes me a better player. The same reason I think Limited does too, is because it really teaches you how to get every little drop of value out of your Magic cards, and it's really important. Okay, even though they trade with the Dreadmaw, they only soak up 4 of the trample damage. So yeah, I think they bid it here. All right, we successfully beat the rat deck as the last game. Good game to go out on. Really cool stuff. So we'll claim our prize. Well, boom, a Morbid Curiosity, and we'll claim our prizes for being a 5/1. We got a Harsh Mentor, a card I'm a big fan of, and a Jungle Creeper, who is unplayable in Pauper to me. So 600 gold. Managed to gain 100 gold. We'll claim that prize. Awesome. So if you like this kind of content, we are dedicated to giving it to you. Let us know in the comments what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of, what you'd like to see done differently, what you think we're doing an okay job at. We do want to hear all of that so we can keep making content that you want to see, because we want you to keep coming back, so we like making content for you. So check us out. Here you're already on the YouTube if you're watching this. It's Supraliminal Films. All over everywhere, supraliminalfilms.com for everything collected together. We do Twitch, we do live, I mentioned it a few times in there, twitch.tv/supraliminalfilms, pretty easy to remember. If you want to reach out to us on social media about anything, please do. We love to answer questions. If you have questions about Magic, if you want to kind of pick our brains a little bit. We have a lot of knowledge and a lot of years experience of the game. Granted, we're not the best of the best, but we get by. So until next time, cast more spells, in particular common spells.